We running, we strapping the cleats. I took the game like a thief. You in the squad, you sleep. They acting hard, they weak. I make them bars speak. Hop in the car, creep. My niggas at large, we deep. I got my name on the lease. I got your bitch on the leash. Handle the work, capiche. We taking them flights east. You know we got it for cheap. Hit up Scotty for the beam. Enterprise, I'm up in the seat. I got ties to the street. I got ties to the church. My grandfather put in work. My grandmother was a G. Always kept it in the team. Started out as a dream. Then I realized I wasn't asleep. Had to take time building me. Make yourself or they'll make you. Play yourself for them major keys. That's just something I can't do. They just mad cause we can't lose. Can't see cause we out of view. Scotty baby, get you out of body. I got bodies hiding on the roof. We came up out of the street. We climbing up in the seat. We got the shooters in reach. We running, we strapping the cleats. I took the game like a thief. You in the squad, you sleep. They acting hard, they weak. I make them bars speak. Hop in the car, creep. My niggas at large, we deep. I got my name on the lease. I got your bitch on the leash. Handle the work, capiche. We taking them flights east. You know we got it for cheap. Hit up Scotty for the beam. See the bone reds, I pursue the target. And I can't sleep, gotta keep walking. They ain't gonna hit, make a beam slide. Beaming. I'm thinking bigger, my nigga. Fuck you and all your opinions. We came up out of the trenches. They never gave us a mention. Nah, nigga, this shit is colossal. I've been underground like a fossil. I've been in the lab, check the catalog. I've been in the kitchen with nada. You got squares in your circle like waffles. I'm Prince serving pancakes. See your main chick, she'll swallow. No dinner date, my mandate. I penetrate, then vacate. I keep flowing like Great Lakes. You soft niggas like cupcakes. I'm fucking your bitch in the tonsils. Look at the time now. I gotta go and get mine, ho. Get back in line, ho. It took me a minute to get it. I've been in the kitchen with nada. Bitches like you or the father. I'ma turn up in the space base. I'ma tell Ross get the lighter. We came up out of the street. We climbing up in the seat. We got the shooters in reach. We running, we strapping the cleats. I took the game like a thief. You in the squad, you sleep. They acting hard, they weak. I make them bars speak. Hop in the car, creep. My niggas at large, we deep. I got my name on the lease. I got your bitch on the leash. Handle the work, capiche. Taking them flights east. You know we got it for cheap. Hit up Scotty for the beam. Hit up Scotty for the beam. got that look in her eyes, Core.
Yeah, I see it. Too bad she's to die for. I guess she doesn't know she's worth it. She's got the body of a goddess, but a mind much less than perfect. Surface conversations great, but wait till after the show. I seen her break and take the bait to the front row. While the blunt's slow, burning in the back, she approaches a big name and says he has a knack for rap and how his shit was fat. She really likes his style until he starts to smile, while the others look on and some get hooked on being a star. We see from afar how it goes. Now suppose the situation's yours. Could you resist if they came by the fours or more? Whores in plain clothes, they got the same gold-stained souls. Some are unnamed hoes, getting stuck, sitting ducks in the water. Now how would you feel if one of them was your daughter? You brought her up your best, but nonetheless, you can't control the destiny of a groupie. You were swallowed by the sea of the lonely, low lifestyle. Rather foul how you live it. And oftentimes I see it, boy, it makes me think twice how I value my vision. Swallowed by the sea of the lonely, low lifestyles. It's rather foul how you live it. And oftentimes I see it, boy, it makes me think twice how I value my vision.
I'm from a group that be doing some things, but animosity keeps surrounding the name. Mystic, unsigned, and hella bro. Self-home promoted and devoted, we keep laughing at jokes around the road to enlightenment. It's a trip when you pay hella dues and booze fill your shoes up. I guess it's more like a compliment if they realize all the blood, sweat, and tears in the lives of men who put their life on the line beyond the fresh battle rhyme. You was jocking metaphor time. And give it up like my single and get your ass up for the track. Party people, it's a balance of a lyric and some music all in one. Creatively way above the minds of the dumb. Come back to the truth, we'll be waiting. Frontin' on advancement, eternally debating. Swallowed by the sea of the lowly, low lifestyles. It's rather foul how you living. And oftentimes I see a boy make me think twice how I value my vision. Swallowed by the sea of the lonely, low lifestyles. It's rather foul how you living. And oftentimes I see a boy make me think twice how I value my vision.
You hip-hop heads don't see me for really who I am, so how could you be my man? You always asking me for beats and shit, when really I'd like to help, but I haven't even peeped your shit. I come as equipped as I can, and that's my plan. I give a fuck less about Polo and Timberland or how many hands I give pounds to. I don't surround you with lyrics in your ear, motherfucker, do you hear English? Sing this song back, it's not a long track. Use the palm clap to keep it on time. I'm on the climb, I'm up front, not sublime. I watch you bitches like mimes, cause you don't need lines to read your minds. I only roll with originators, down to earth players, chilling like refrigerators. You haters, I didn't buy my shit for you, so if you don't like it, keep quiet, cause I do only a few fools as folks. You other jokes spoke too quickly. Mother told me not to hang around with sickly looking individuals with no visual perception. I suggest you step in, go your own direction. You were swallowed by the sea of the lonely, low lifestyles. It's rather foul how you live it. And oftentimes I see it, boy, it makes me think twice how I value my vision. Swallowed by the sea of the lonely, low lifestyles. It's rather foul how you living. And oftentimes I see it, boy, it makes me think twice how I value my vision. I value my vision. I value my vision. Y'all can't see. Y'all can't see. Y'all can't see.
Yeah, welcome to the Machine Lies, where we talk about the lies of the machine on the machine that lies. And I got some interesting stuff for you guys in case you missed the show yesterday. And we are doing a show on Thursday as well, in addition to our show on Wednesday. Right, so we got a bunch of shows coming up here. So let me tell you guys about what's been going on here, right? So we did a show yesterday with Neurojack, right? It's important to check that out. Sorry, I'm just grabbing these rings here, right? And in that show, we sort of discussed this idea from Plato, right? And we'll be talking about this idea from Plato, getting back into the pre-Socratics, right? And all sorts of new discussions that we're going to have, right? So we're doing a show. So yesterday we did a show with Neurojack, right? Smoking neuro crack with Neurojack. Yeah, thank you, Lizard Tree. Some of you were there. And we talked about Plato and about how Plato figures into the sort of history of philosophy, and how Plato can be used to explain certain ideas within mysticism itself, right? So there is this entire aspect of so yeah, we got we got neuro crack, right? So let me drop the link for that show. Actually, you know what? Let me just go to the community posts. If you guys go to community posts, I'll just share this on the screen because there's a number of things there, right? That we've put that I think you guys should check out. New shows and things that we're doing. Obviously, we need to put the show that we did with Truther Cop. We're doing a new series with Truther Cop, but it's only going to be available on Truther Cop's channel, Truther Cop Official. I'll show you guys that too. But yeah, we got this long-running series that me and Neurojack are doing called Smoking Neuro Crack with Neurojack. Okay, Smoking Neuro Crack with Neurojack. I've released some of my music mixes. This one I made using a Sega Genesis video game. So I'm releasing some of the music mixes. Here is a new show we did on transhumanism, cyberfeminism, nature versus tech, systems versus tools. Part 2 coming soon. So I started a new series there. Oh, whoops. None of this is on the screen. God damn. I'm sorry, guys. There we are. Wow, that was so stupid. God damn. I hate this StreamYard shit. So yeah, I was done with that screen, but anyways, here's the new show we did with Neurojack, Cyber Caliphate channel. Smoking Neuro Crack with Neurojack. This is the Sega Genesis mix I posted 4 days ago. This is the new show, Transhumanism, Cyberfeminism, Nature versus Technology, Systems versus Tools. So again, go look at the community posts. We did all these new shows. All these new shows, right? And of course, that there's way other shows available in the Cyber Caliphate series, Smoking Crack with Neurojack, that you probably haven't seen. We offer lots of commentary on those shows. So check that out when you guys have time. We'll be doing the part 2 of technophiles versus technophobes soon. So whether you're a technophile or a technophobe, I think that will be pertinent information, right? We'll do like a 50-50, right? We give each side their fair due. So yeah, Truther Cop, exactly. We're doing a show with Truther Cop on Friday. Excellent stuff with Truther Cop. I agree. Truther Cop is one of the greats out here that's streaming. You know, for sure, I've always had a good time streaming with Truther Cop. And so we're doing a new Friday stream. So here's his channel, Truther Cop Official. So check out the stream we're doing on Friday here, catching up on the Panelverse and Psyoptics. Right? See, here we are, catching up on the Panelverse, the Psyoptics, and Sitch Online with expert guests. Right? So we're doing a number of new series. So there's really no reason to watch any other shows. Okay, because we're doing shows all this week. So so we're gonna be streaming a lot this week. So we'll be back on Thursday with a new show with Neurojack. We've already confirmed that. We'll be back on Friday with the new show with Truther Cop. So if you guys missed the last shows, go ahead and check them out again. Right. Anyways, I'm gonna get started on what we're talking about here this evening, and I'd like people to call in if you guys want to talk about anything. Right. I appreciate you guys. Today's more of like a free form show that we do. Okay, kind of laying out the issues that we're gonna go over in the week. And as I said, this whole idea of Plato, right, and the notion of him solving this idea of being and becoming, which we saw from Parmenides. Okay, this is a huge idea that we're sort of working with. Okay, because of the idea that it formulates for man and his connection to the idea of the forms, right? Because Plato sort of posited this idea of the soul. So there's this notion of the soul, and the soul can sort of directly perceive the forms, this idea of the immaterial relating to the material is a fundamental notion in Platonic philosophy, and there's certain thinkers that are positing this interpretation of Plato. Blessings.
What's up, Machine Labs? How you doing?
Hey, what's up? How you doing? Right.
I'm doing good. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're positing this notion of Plato being a Heraclitean under his teacher Cratylus, right? So there's this idea of Plato trying to formulate the forms as a noble lie and whatnot. So this is important from many different angles, because not only have a couple of the esoteric thinkers stated this, including the guy from Esoterica, the Jewish guy. So me and Neurojack were kind of looking at this concept, why this concept would be relevant or important. And obviously, there's a huge departure from Aristotle, you know, from Plato to Aristotle, right, in this concept, because not only does Aristotle deny the forms in their fullest conception, but then he also articulates that Plato believed in the forms. Right. So this then being an obstacle for the people that claim that Plato did not believe in the forms, right, and so on and so forth. So this idea of these archetypal forms, and if man has an archetypal form, then you know, we're talking about this notion of the archetypal man and how it's formulated. And of course, there's a pre-Platonic conception in this called Phanes Protogenes of the Orphic Pythagoreans. Okay, a god that is neither male nor female, the hermaphroditic deity.
Oh,
right.
nice.
So that's a notion where, you know, and you see this basically in Aristophanes, right, in the Symposium. Okay, so Plato puts it in a sort of number of places. Okay, he sort of hides this in a number of places. But this notion of the archetypal man, and if you guys know, like, basically like Carl Jung, okay, he also said, like, you know, if you go into the dream, like, you know, there's a feminine aspect of yourself, and then, like, you know, you kind of like have sex with it or something like that.
Yeah. I think even Julius Evola said something like this: both men, everyone has like both female and male energies inside them, and like now we're in the age of the feminine. Yeah, that's what he said. In his book Eros, Metaphysics of Love. That's what Evola said. He pretty much said that all people, humans, have like both male and female energies inside them, and now we're living in the age of like too much feminine energy because of the rise of like liberalism and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's kind of like an old occult, concept or an occult idea, and of course, Plato talks about, partaking in the mysteries, right, in the Eleusinian mysteries, and he puts this in the mouth of Socrates, and so on and so forth. So there's this great concept of, also he believes in reincarnation, right? It's a soul that transcends the physical nature, right? So much in the same way, there's this notion of, the material and the immaterial. So obviously matter is part of the world of becoming, right? So the immaterial is part of the world of the soul, right? The world of being, as it were, right? So he combined, so his whole idea is to sort of combine these two concepts. And if you'll notice, right, sort of man is smushed in the middle, right? He's the sort of mediator, between sort of being and becoming through the concept of the rational soul. So man melds these two ideas together. So in the Platonic sort of conception of man, right, I think he is sort of a person that before Christianity came along, right, he gave man, because what does obviously Christianity makes a huge move, right, because it says that man is a mediator between heaven and earth, right? So this is a gigantic step, right? A gigantic step, because there's a lot of conceptions of man before this, right? For example, there's the view of Protagoras that man is a measure of all things, right?
Yeah.
There's the view of Plato that man is a rational soul, and this is then followed up by Aristotle, who says that man is sort of a high part in the hierarchy of being, right?
Yeah.
So the because of him possessing a rational soul, right? So there's so there's this idea of man being placed at the center, so to speak, of the cosmology. And of course, we're not really sure when this happened, but what we're really talking about is the notion of the archetypal man, which led to the notion of universalism, right? Because that's the primary idea that I'm working with, is the notion of universalism, right? And how it starts to articulate. Now, I think either Plato and Christianity would kind of take a more humble approach for sort of man in terms of the universalism of man, right? Then would something like humanism, right, or secularism, right? Because in terms of humanism or secularism, right, man is man is having sort of put out this notion of the heavenly man, right? Universalism sort of falls squarely on man himself, right? So it doesn't really go through God and through nature, right?
No.
So it's not filtered by these two conceptions, but man can finally have free reign, right? So in the final sort of humanistic conception of man, man's able to define himself. And this is important because man's not defined by exactly as I said, nature or God, right? See, man was defined by nature, when he was at the whim of natural forces. He was defined by God when he settled into a religious mode, right? And there was a religious mode that became a thing that expanded over most of humanity, I think, right? You could say that there was like this concept of religion, right? So by the 16th century, right, this notion merged with this notion of secular humanism, right? And it's
Yeah.
obviously in European society that this happened, right? So we don't have to, yeah, we don't have to struggle to see what culture or society caused secular humanism, right? It's clearly a Christian civilization.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and there's many reasons for this, right? There's many ideas why this was caused by Christian ideals, partly because Christian ideals still contain a conception that links humanity and God, right? So there's
Yeah.
this main instance, in which after man gets rid of the divine scope for God and no longer places the heavenly man in heaven, then that universal man becomes the goal of history
Yeah.
instead of the end of history. So this is kind of what we're working with here. Let's see
Yeah,
what else.
I think it's pretty fitting that Christianity gave rise to like humanism, liberalism because of like the Reformation as well. The Reformation sped up that process, but definitely the seeds were already there with like Aquinas's, a strict division of like nature, and because of the scholastics, quantifying God and quantifying angels even and putting too much descriptions on these metaphysical beings and ideas with such scrutiny that like it becomes, well, what is the point of even having a divine mystery of things? That was the internal logic of Christianity for a long time until we had Aquinas, and then after that we had Occam, and then we had Francis Bacon, and before him we had the Protestant Reformation, and then that like changed everything.
Yeah, blessings. Yeah, I appreciate you. This is an old person that used to watch the show. I greatly
Nice.
appreciate your time, man. Thanks for watching again. And there's some definite there's definitely we can expand on that in terms of there is a link, but in terms of Aquinas especially, his Aristotelianism supplied most of the cosmology, and I don't know if that was totally in keeping with what a lot of the Christian thinkers, right, felt was appropriate, right? Because some of them did complain that Aristotle was kind of taken too sharp of an approach in terms of he was kind of like Aristotle in the monk robe.
Yeah,
And
that's a good point. Actually, you say, because like Martin Luther was the first one to accuse of like the Scholastics of putting Aristotle over Christ. He says that you guys are worshiping like a lot of pagan philosophy instead of like true Christian philosophy. Yeah,
he's right. That's one of the things he was right about. He was obviously right about other things.
Of course, Luther.
Yeah, but I think Luther went way overboard.
Yeah,
Martin Luther. so yeah, but in terms of, and obviously the overboard is mostly Calvin, right?
Calvin was very, very. He had some interesting ideas, but like what came after him was just very weird, because like his ideas, like inside the Dutch Republic, right? They allow a lot of refugees and immigrants. They allowed a lot of Huguenots, what else, Jews, and a lot of other groups in their country. Yeah, it was very strange time, you know.
So in terms of Aquinas, there's another sharp distinction that we talked about on the show that he made that I think is even more critical than his Aristotelianism, because he did significant battles with the Aristotelians and the Averroes. So it's not to say that he was totally succumbed to Aristotelianism itself, right? But in terms of reinforcing the hierarchy of being and all of that type of ideas, he can definitely be blamed. But in terms of his separation of the church and the state, this is an even more damnable concept, because he starts to say that the church is separate from the state in terms of one is faith and one is reason, right? So just as form and matter are separated, the church and the state have to be in their equal spheres of influence, right?
Yeah.
So although this ties together the heavenly and the earthly authority in a unique way, it also uniquely distinguishes them in a way that later, when the church fell to the wayside, they put all of the divine power in the sort of secular institution of the state. And you kind of see this in the West, that the West was uniquely predisposed to liberalism
Very much.
because of the state, right? Because they created the secular state, right? And I think that this was important because you had the church function in a parallel relationship to the state. So when the church finally lost power, you know, and then you had this notion of the kings kind of seems pointless, right, without the divine authority. So yeah, I think this is a another idea, and you know, so obviously we talked about that. We talked about how important certain ideas about man in the conception of secular humanism are, such as the tabula rasa of
Yes.
John Locke.
Empiricism, yeah.
Yeah, empiricism, right? The notion of the starry sky above and the moral law within.
That's Immanuel Kant, yeah.
Yeah, the notion of the Newtonian physics being separated from the internal moral scope, right? So there's this notion that, you know, ethics is universalized, right? And Kant even uses those terms, right? He says the categorical imperative is universal.
Categorical imperative, absolutely, yeah. Kant wanted to ground objective morality with pure human reason without God, because, as you know, he strangely, paradoxically, both affirmed and yet rejected theism. It's really, really weird how he got away with that, you know, like it's very strange, you know, like
yeah, it is.
It's like you deny the metaphysical bedrock of God, and yet you still think that we need a belief in God, or like what he called it, a postulate to have like ethics and like freedom, you know. It's just very strange how Kant got away with almost everything, and like obviously he was very groundbreaking, but still, like looking back, it's like, whoa, like we kind of did like a misstep a bit with him, because he got away with a lot of things that just didn't make any sense, you know.
Yeah, and then you have obviously this continued in Hegel, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we looked at from Rousseau to Kant to Hegel, how there's this great philosophical lineage, right? It says that, or historians note that Kant went on the same walk every day called the Philosopher's Walk. You can still go on the Philosopher's Walk. The path is laid out there, right? Where
Yeah.
Kant used to take his walk. It's a famous
Yes. A famous story. Yeah.
yeah, famous story, right? So they still have this today. It's called the Philosopher's Walk, right? So
Mhm. It's very
so
nice.
yeah, so one day he read Emile by Rousseau, and he was so shocked by the idea of the moral philosophy that's contained therein that he missed his walk, his daily walk, right? So this idea of the collective spirit in Rousseau, right? This idea of this sort of
General will. Yeah.
yeah, the general will, the collective will, right? The
Yeah.
collective spirit, the collective will is this notion of the secular religion, the civic religion, right? As Rousseau kind of calls it, right? He says you need a stately religion, right? Of like sort of patriotism and all these things, right? So this collective spirit in Rousseau is sort of channeled through Kant in his sort of utopianism, right?
Yeah.
Kant was the utopian. He believed in Swedenborg's concept of the New Jerusalem,
New
right? That one,
Jerusalem. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that one day we're gonna finally have world peace, right?
Oh
So,
yeah.
so Hegel also felt this, and he thought this idea was about the world spirit, right? So he called this idea the world spirit, and he talked about the apotheosis of the state,
Yeah. Where
right? So,
everything. Yep.
yeah, yeah. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Oh my God. Hegel is like the prime example of this. He believed the state and the general will of the people will achieve a end of history that will, and people will have like a type a freedom. The absolute spirit will finally reach its own self actualization with us inside history. Everything will finally be a complete. According to Hegel, and then we all know who like used that. It was Marx who used it, but he inverted it into like a secular way of things, because he was a atheistic, a materialist.
Right. And finally, we come to Marx's concept that the root of man is man himself, right? That there's no growing outside of man. We get to define ourselves. We get to
Yeah.
create ourselves. We get to create the world in our image, right? The point of philosophy is not to understand the world, but to change it.
Yep.
So there's all of these concepts in Marx that then delineate that what is the final goal of humanism in terms of dialectical materialism or evolution in terms of Darwin or
Yeah.
Christ consciousness in terms of Blavatsky. But either way, they're making use of the myth of progress and talking about how humanity is going to go undergo this collective change, and obviously they're talking about the creation of a world system. So
Yeah.
all of these different thinkers, they prophesize, whether it's Aquinas, whether it's Rousseau, whether it's Kant, whether it's Hegel, right? Whether it's Darwin, whether it's Blavatsky, they thought there's going to be a collective change in humanity. That's the goal, right? There's going to be a collective change in humanity, right? There's going to be
great awakening. Yeah.
a great awakening, a great thing, and this is least true for Aquinas, maybe, which is so ironic because you think he's actually the monk, right? So he should be thinking in this. He should be thinking this the most, right? But he's actually the one who least believes this, right? Out of all the names I mentioned, it's crazy. None of them, right? Rejected this notion that humanity is on its way to something better, this collective notion of salvation, so on and so forth. And obviously, they all use this idea to get to secular humanism, to get to the prophecy of the world system, right? And obviously, the world technological system, they kind of showed and said that it's, they kind of thought that it's going to be science and technology. Well, Aquinas definitely didn't say that. He kind of said human reason. He said that was high up there, but then the rest of them kind of took that to mean, well, man's achievements, right, or man's creations, or us recreating ourselves, or recreating the world.
Capabilities, yeah, which is our reasons, as we understand them.
Yeah, exactly. So 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 um so you have the idea finally in the end, right? Where, as I've said many times on the show, that in these sort of four stages, and it's funny that we use Rousseau as kind of a schizophrenic figure, right? On the one hand,
Well,
yeah, I
some
mean,
people say that he was. Some people, I've heard some rumors that he was not mentally stable. Then again, what philosopher back then was, right? But like I heard something.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, we have to use Rousseau this way because Rousseau, on the one end, right, he supported this notion of the social contract and of the collective spirit, and of this whole ideal, right, of the state, right. So he was almost no better than Hobbes and Locke's, right, view when it comes down to it, right. But the fact is that he was a great critic of the notion of progress itself.
yeah, he
So
was.
yeah, so whichever way you want to look at Rousseau, you could kind of look at him in both ways, right? Both as a supporter of progress and of the ideal of progress, and as a great criticizer of the ideal of progress, right? He's sort of
Oh,
wedged in between there, and that partly may have to do with his Calvinism, right? Because in Calvinism, there's this idea that we can't change things, to a certain extent,
yeah,
right?
you're forever
It's
damned.
providence.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pre
It's
double
basically providence. God provides everything, controls everything, etc.
Yeah, and like we're like born like dead with sin. Yeah, all of us, all humans are born with absolute depravity and sin, and there's no way in hell that we could ever save ourselves. We just have to like bet everything on God, of doing things for us.
Yeah, that is the real terminology that they use is called absolute depravity.
Yep.
Which sounds like pretty extreme wording, right? For
Yeah.
sure. But
Oh yeah.
but yeah, if you guys look it up, that is an actual
Yeah,
notion.
Called the tulip, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
tulip
think
tulip doctrine's called total depravity. Yeah, it's one of the main points of Calvin's work. Funny enough, Calvin was influenced by Saint Augustine, who was a Neoplatonist, and before he was a Christian, he was like I forgot what was the religion inside.
Mandean.
Mandean. Yeah, there you go. He was a Mandean. So really, some people say,
Manichaean.
yeah, Manichaean.
They're
There you go.
close.
They're close.
Yeah, yeah, very close. Yeah, I think
In sound anyway.
yeah, I think Manichaeanism is an offshoot of Mandaeanism. So I
Yeah,
think
it
there's
is.
a lineage there. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It is, and that's why some people call Calvinism a type of like crypto Gnosticism because of that influence, that strong influence that Calvin used from Saint Augustine of Hippo. In his work, he and both Luther used Saint Augustine's work on sin and like on like human nature and anthropology to justify their own doctrines of original sin and of human depravity.
Crypto-Gnostic, that's a new one for me. As far as Calvinism goes.
Oh yeah, I've heard about this ever since.
That had to be pretty esoteric. I've never heard of it, even a whiff of that.
Oh really? Yeah.
I was raised in a Calvinist church.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. I was raised Catholic, so like I was raised to like see other dominations as either a mistaken or in worst cases like like just like hellbound. So like,
Yeah,
but
Protestantism is basically Catholicism light. I mean, the whole movement was controlled up.
Oh yeah.
If they really wanted Luther,
Dead.
Dealt with, they would have had him done,
Yeah.
quick like. So
Of course, yeah. Oh, yeah. There's that conspiracy that like Luther kind of Well, that's true. Well, that's half true in the sense that Luther didn't want to form like a new religion or a new branch. He wanted to just
It's to
reform the
try to
church.
control. It's to control the revolution in a sense, where the people were. You had the Anabaptists that were always against the Catholicism. You had some other groups against Catholicism. I think they were trying to control things getting too out of hand, so they came up with the Protestant Reformation.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like there are something called the proto Protestants. I think they were called the Hussites inside the Czech
Yeah,
Republic. Yeah, those guys were way before like Luther and like Calvin.
for
So
sure.
so those guys were the actual true radicals. I think Luther and Calvin were just like a type of like managed trouble. Yeah, like they were like leaks, but they were like pressure valve leaks. Like you can like control them a bit and like but like those people of like the Czech lands back then, Bohemia, right? The Hussites, they were burned at the stake automatically. Calvin and Luther weren't treated like that. They were like
Nope.
exiled and like excommunicated, but they weren't burned at the stake.
Yeah, exactly. So that should tell you all you need to know.
Yeah. So it was a type of like controlled opposition from the Roman Catholic Church. It was because if they really, really thought that Luther and Calvin were such threats and like their followers later on, they would have like either killed all of them or like invaded their lands. Yeah, which they
Yeah.
actually did afterwards. Yeah, because I think that after
Right.
they both died, their ideas actually started to become not because of their lifetime, but after their lifetime, people thought they're like, hey, let's just use these to form new ideas, and that's why we had like the Huguenots in France who were like prosecuted, so they had to leave. So I think
Right.
originally Protestantism was just like a type of like controlled opposition to ease, people like having real grievances with the church, and that's true because Luther and Calvin saw themselves as just reformers, and it's called Reformation for a reason.
Yeah.
It wasn't a revolution. It was just like, hey, let's keep the Catholic Church, but let's just restructure it a bit. Let's not have all of these unnecessary things. But
Yeah.
it got out of hand, and eventually people after them just like, no, this is a new thing now, and we're gonna take it to a whole other way, and that's where we are now.
Yeah, blessings.
Mm.
So I think after Hegel and them, they do this entire thing. I put it up to Nietzsche to basically say, look, God is dead and man is just a bridge that has to be overcome. So this isn't exactly evolution. It's not exactly a definition for man. It's not exactly man is the root of man himself, right? But it's the notion that there's something beyond man, right? And I think finally there's this notion that God is sort of the end point of history instead of the sort of beginning point. So that whole idea of God sort of starting history or historicity going back to God, right? That has to be sort of overthrown so that God can be something that comes out of man, right?
Yeah.
And instead of man becoming God himself, I think that there's this idea that man has to be overcome so that a new God can be born. And this is sort of what Rene Girard is kind of on too, because there's this notion of Girard where he combines Nietzsche with Christianity, with the notion that we killed something and then we made it the hero, right? And that our whole entire religion and our understanding of our overcoming this enemy that then we turned into a fallen god and so on and so forth. right, was this inversion, right, of this moral scope where we internalize the fact that we were the sort of aggressors in the situation, right, and and so sort of eating the flesh of God seems to represent that in a way, right, and so on and so forth, and well, obviously the idea from Athanasius is that in order for man to become like God, God had to become like man.
Yeah,
So
God had to enter our like fallen world to like convey his word, you know, essentially his message to all.
yeah, so in that sense, you know, it's instead of God lowering himself and then man sort of becoming raised, right, and so on and so forth. There's this notion that you know, you know, that in order for a new thing to come, right, like man in this current stage sort of has to sort of die, and out of that death of the old man comes the new man, right? And of course, this terminology, uh, new uh body, right? I think it's like Second Corinthians. He says the idea of the new body, right? He says Christ was made in a new body, right? So there's this notion in which our old body is like you know subject to deformities and stuff, but we also have a spirit body,
Yep.
right? And obviously there's this notion that we could be remade in the spirit to have a totally new body, right, which is the body that Christ had when he was resurrected, right? So again, there's this notion of rebirth through the spirit, similar to how Plato was saying that you can comprehend the forms if you transcend the material, right? The
Yep.
flesh, right? And obviously Paul uses a lot of this idea
Oh,
of flesh versus spirit. It's all
oh,
over the letters.
yes. The letters
Right.
of Paul, the
One of the
epistle.
main ideas, yeah,
Yep.
one of the main ideas is the dialectic between flesh and spirit, especially in Romans.
Oh,
Right.
absolutely. The epistle to the Romans, absolutely. Like Paul, yes, Paul essentially was doing heavy Platonic philosophy. That he's the reason why Platonism is associated is in Christianity. It's because of him. Like Nietzsche said that what Platonism is, I mean, Christianity is just Platonism for the masses, and like Paul is like a good reason why for that because of his letters, his like to other people, to the Romans. Yeah, it was very, very, very uh strong point, with Paul, of him like platonizing the original message of Christianity because Paul never met Jesus. He only saw him through like a vision or a dream, I believe. Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. Yeah. Even though weirdly now, I've met some Christians who say that Paul should not be considered like a person in Christianity. Like they say they reject Paul for some weird reasons. Like, well, for real? Like, this is the reason why that Christianity got spread and gave you like a lot of the theology, like the Trinity, transmutation. Yeah.
Yeah. He
Kind of cut out there.
Mm. Oh, he'll be back.
some technical difficulties, I guess, suppose.
Hmm. So how you been?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
he.
don't know
good.
what happened there. I think I stepped on the cable or something, but
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was weird because it somehow muted you and then you disappeared.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
that's what happens when this thing malfunctions. I'm not
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
I think it happens because I step on the cable. This cable is extremely weak, and sometimes I'll have
Hmm.
to reset the computer if that happens again. But yeah, I'm not sure if so it's really hard to ascribe Platonic concepts to Paul, right? But if you take the entire thing as a whole, right, you take the entire development of Christianity, right? Certainly the Platonizing and Aristotelianizing of Christianity would serve as a roadway to secularism, right?
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
even to the Christian Kabbalah, right? In certain instances. So there's all of these instances in which Neoplatonism, right, combined with Judaism and Christianity led to this idea, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, so it could be a little bit of the other way around, but obviously the Jews were already sort of Middle Platonists, right? Some
Oh,
of the
yes.
Jews.
Oh, of
So
course. Yeah.
yeah, so this problem was sort of pre-Christian, so to speak, and we can talk about how sort of the Christian Trinity is not really exactly Neoplatonism, right? So it's a little bit different, but in terms of speaking in a Greek language and transmitting his ideas to Greek-speaking people, and then including the Greeks along with the Jews, right? I think for all those reasons, Paul is extremely, and then also his education in Tarsus, right? Obviously, his dialectic between flesh and the spirit. You're right, and I have written extensively about this. I think there's something. It smells of Platonism, right?
Yeah.
So for sure. Um. So yeah. But these guys like Augustine and Aquinas, right? They did a lot more. They did more of the heavy lifting, right? I think definitely in terms of Augustine, he synthesized, right? I think Platonic and Christian concepts, and then I think Aquinas did it with Aristotle, right?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah. Aristotle. Yeah. Aquinas was Aristotelian, while Augustine was firmly Neoplatonic. Yes. Yeah. Very firmly Neoplatonic. His work on the soul, on the Trinity, of course, which though now people say it's not really Platonic. Original sin, like the whole like a division of like matter and like the spirit, the soul. He was one of the first ones to really drive home that point. And yeah, so
Okay, so that brings us to um sort of the main topic, right? Which is okay. So here is another guest here. Blessings. Let's add this guy. I appreciate you. Hey,
Hope I'm
blessings.
doing well.
Buddha,
Thank
what's going on?
what's up, AB? What's up,
you.
Buddha?
Yeah. I hope everyone's doing well.
I'm all right.
Yeah, we're doing well. Yeah. Any thoughts on? I know you have a lot of opinions on this because we've been kind of talking about it all day. Right, the notion of universalism and and Plato and sort of the Christianity, Judaism, Islam, that whole complex, and obviously then the secular humanism, right? So what do you think about that chain of events, as it were?
Yeah, you study this a lot, which is good, and you probably know more than me. Ludwig Klages goes into that a lot. Also, Klages, but I don't actually agree with him on everything. It's kind of interesting because Klages and Nimrod de Rosariel, they have like opposite metaphysics, but they both agree on an anti. Well, not they don't agree on that, but they both are against telos, so they go approach it differently and stuff. So the question is about the universalism. It serves as the foundation to ground the notion of telos, right? So that's the thing. Some of the early Buddhists, they were extreme nominalists. Some of them, like Dharma Kirti. Dharma Kirti was. I haven't really read him that much. My other friend has. I read Nagarjuna more, which is kind of different. Nagarjuna is different, but
Yeah. I
yeah,
read
very long Nagarjuna. Yeah, MMK. I cannot pronounce the the actual title, but I just say MMK. But yeah, the issue is with telos. So universalism and the notion of telos has to have like strengthen the idea of universalism. So it has to do with telos. Yeah, I think so. So those are closely intertwined and stuff.
Yeah, telos. Yeah, the idea that like there is an end goal that everyone has, and like that's a universalization idea.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yep. Very, very interesting. Yeah. I mean, and just like the general idea of like a teleology, it's not the same as telos, but just the concept of that, that everything that things lead to an end goal that will lead down the line in it a type of universalism for either a group of people or for like a general for all the world, because they want everyone to like come to that end point. Yeah, if with Aquinas it was with God, with Hegel it was with the end of history, absolute spirit, and now it's like either like utopian secular liberalism, or like Francis, who's the author of that book, The End of History? Francis
Fukuyama.
Futuyama. There you go. Yeah, yeah. It's either him or it's the other people I talked about. Like Marx with his communism, Hegel with absolute spirit, and him with his liberalism, Fukuyama. They all have to generalize something, in order for everyone to want to be part of it, or everyone has to be a part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, one weird thing is that liberalism does have a kind of implicit telos. The telos is
Oh yeah.
inclusiveness, and also stuff like secularism. More secular. It's kind of like Popper or something. It's open society. Yeah.
Popper was like such. I don't know how I know one friend who used to do these panels, right? His name is Marcus, and like he says he likes Karl Popper. I'm like, who ironically likes him? Like, I don't get it. Like, it's just damn.
Yeah, but the thing is that in empirical science, the consensus is there is no telos. They call it teleonomy. So the philosophers or the politicians, they call it the political theorists, like the Fukuyama you were talking about. Their telos is more like a socially constructed thing or something.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Francis Fukuyama. Yeah. Though, like I've been like thinking about something some more about like the concept at the end of history, and like I think that some things have ended. Like I don't think there's like an alternative towards like the things that we inhabit. That is, the technological world that we were just in. I don't think there's an alternative for that, because anything that like wants to go against it inadvertently just becomes a part of that. You're kind of adding fuel to a fire. It's like carrying wood to like a burning house. Like you're just adding more to it. The dialectics will like cancel each other out eventually.
Yeah, there's a kind of reminds me of the Joseph Tainter. I was looking into him a bit before. And have you heard of Joseph Tainter?
Joseph Tainter? I can't say I have. What does he do?
It basically claims that as we add layers of complexity to a system, there are there's diminishing returns, and so this ties into Elo also in some ways
Of course,
that
technique. Yeah.
they're trying to fix the issues, but the point is you cannot like strip back and go back in a stage-wise manner. Either the
No.
whole system collapses or it will just keep having diminishing returns as it adds more complexity to it.
Yeah,
That
the
makes-
diminishing returns. Yeah, and that like whole phenomenon of like diminishing returns is true for like just in general life as well. Like the more you give like attention to something, that thing will eventually come back to you. Like it will, even smaller ways, but like it will come back to you. So it's kind of like a ratchet effect. You throw it, but it comes back, or like a type of like boomerang effect. Yeah, that's more accurate. Yeah.
Yeah, that's about accurate. Yeah, the problem is that no one can. It's very hard to have like be free from the system. Because it's
Yeah.
very invasive and you have to pay. They always
Invasive.
find ways to get you. Yeah.
Absolutely. Like we have this society of technique, and don't forget the concept I think I brought up here before. I think I did. It was the monoculture. That is, there is a pervading culture around the world that just flattens everything, and everything is now accessible to anyone. Like you can see my profile picture somewhere like in South Africa, or like in like Malaysia, or like in a Kazakhstan. It's kind of like a flattening of all cultural distinctions into one, giant monoculture. Like everything is being experienced at once thanks to the internet, propaganda, media. There's almost no distinctions. There is no extremes anymore, because like where is this center if everything is just leveled into this behemoth, of a culture around the world?
Yeah, and also the thing is that the system is so consumes a lot of resources and also leads to depression and atomization. And the point is that every fix becomes costlier and it
Yeah.
yields less until society spends more merely to maintain the system that is diminishing both the people and the living world. So yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. The environment is taking a toll, not only as culture, but just bare human as psychology as well. Like we live in an era of like SSRIs. Everyone was on that. I was even on that when I was like 14, and I stopped like 6 years ago. Like it's just not worth it, to me to be on those. But like a lot of people, unfortunately, like they just get driven to just like be like dopamine zombies, or just pure like just they have to be half like dead, or like half like unconscious, just to like function nowadays. And it's all been pre-planned, all of like this like phenomenon, because the culture and the systems at hand, it is self-regulating and self-augmentating. It doesn't have any input from us. It does what it does, and we're just in it for the ride, essentially.
Yeah, I agree. It's basically remade us in its image. It doesn't adapt to us. We're the ones that are forced to adapt to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like everything is adapting to it, even like the whole even like spiritual religious traditions are adapting to it. Like you can have like people learn theology through through memes now. Like who's that one like Christian apologist that's like very famous? He primarily talks for like infographics and memes. I forgot his name. It's like Zoomer or something. Redeem Zoomer.
Redeem Zoomer.
There you go, Redeem. Yeah, exactly. He's like the most popular apologist right now in like our generation, and he primarily like promotes things through like infographics, AI, and like memes. So yeah, there goes all that. So that's essentially how this generation just works. It works with the language that we're accustomed to, and that's that. And the rest of the world seems to follow suit because everything is expressed through like those type of images, those symbols.
Yeah, the symbols are basically corrupted or captured, to serve the system. Basically, are the older signs and symbols we
Yep.
use. That's
Yeah,
why.
semiotic capture.
Semiotic capture. Yep. Semiotic capture inside the world of technique and the monoculture. What's up, Set Scales? Dominic, how you doing?
Yeah, so those guys didn't come by. I couldn't get them to come by, but yeah, maybe next time.
Who?
Me and Dom were talking to a climate scientist and also Mel Cosmic Fox, and I wanted to have them continue the discussion because I was poking at this idea that because there's global warming, we're in an existential crisis, right, faced by most of humanity, and it's science and technology that, because he was sort of saying, well, you look at the weather reports, right, and then there's people praying to God, right? He said, well, it's science that figured out all this weather, right, not God. We don't need God to do it, right? So he says it's kind of shameful that people are praying to God and so on and so forth. So I asked him, I said, well, isn't science and technology destroying the world according to the climate scientists, right? So it's an interesting question, right? So
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, those data centers aren't going to be any good for that either.
No, it won't. Yeah, Mel was also talking to like someone else that claims to be like a climate scientist and a biologist on the DNW's channel.
I think
And
it's the same guy, the Cougar Doomer.
Cougar, yeah, Cougar
His name is Cougar Doomer. Yeah.
Cougar Doomer. Yeah, that's his fucking name. And dude,
That's freaking hilarious.
dude, I swear to God, like he is such an uptight person. Like he gave Dom like a hard time in the comments. He called him like a moron because he didn't agree with like Dominic's view of like I guess what was the conversation about, Dom, about like the history of like or like why cities are formed and like they're only for like psychopaths, right? Or like they're like a breeding ground for them, which I agree. Like I half agree. Yeah.
I was just pointing out because he was saying something about how psychopaths must have been tolerated by humanity for ages if they're still around today. And then I said the only reason, or I said that humans did not tolerate psychopaths in the past. And then he brought up that point about how they're still around. And then I said, psychopaths are only tolerated because they built the first cities. And he said I contradicted myself.
Yeah, he's a very like you guys should see him like a debate, a quote unquote debate, whenever he's talking to someone who like does not agree with like his climate science. Like he goes like angry at you. He like screams at you. It's kind of funny to watch. Like I
It's
might
kind
have.
of strange, though. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh no, it's fine. It is strange. No, yeah, like it kind of makes me want to like join the NW show again. Like I'll like drop every ill will I have and just join the show again because I just kind of want to like deny his a opinion he has and just see him go at it because man, whenever he does, it's kind of funny because he freaking takes everything like fucking like the data says so seriously. I'm like, dude, it can change and it has changed. I'm not saying that the world is not under threat. It is, but like the exact measurements and what years, like he keeps on telling us when I was on the show, like either by this year or in 5 years the world will end by the environment. I'm like, dude, are you serious? Like are you fucking like
It's got like Al Gore kind of vibes going on.
yeah
Wow.
yeah
So he's
Exactly.
not just a ordinary climate scientist. He is definitely true to his name, a cold hard doomer, right?
I can't call how humor when I'm like, dude, like the freaking collapse of the world is in the slowest time ever. It's in slow time right now. It's not gonna process just because of like just a few plants, just a few like data centers are like gonna open. It's not gonna help, but it's not helping, but it's not gonna accelerate it. No, it's gonna collapse when it wants to, and it doesn't want to right now. Exactly, you know. So I'm like, dude, chill the fuck out with like your fucking like your climate data, bro. Like you live in California and like in like rural California, like chill the fuck out, man.
You know what I think it is and I was even partially pointing this out to him a little bit, is that I think that they look at their data and then they just kind of fall into their academic siloing. But
Mm,
I was pointing out to him because he was going on about how people just believe the meteorologist, and then they go and pray about the storm or whatever that they say is going to come, and he's all like, I don't understand how people can watch a scientist and then still go have a superstitious experience afterwards, like praying.
oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Right, yeah.
He's like an absolute like atheistic, a materialist scientisms. Yeah, it is insane. Like those guys still exist. I'm like, you don't have any spiritual like a like feelings at all. No, like yearn for like anything metaphysical at all. Like not even in like a type of like analogy or like a cultural basis. You have none of that. And he told me no. I was like, what the fuck? That's fucking weird. Like I
Well,
even have that.
I just pointed out to him how, to the average person, there's no difference between the meteorologist and the priest who's
No.
talking about religion. And I said why, and they still were all like, "Well, they're still going on about real empirical data and evidence, and they know real things with predictive powers." And I'm just saying, well, the point is that these people sit with their knowledge for days and weeks or whatever, or months, and the general public is not looking at the same knowledge that they are, and the same is of the priest. And because people have been conditioned by religion to go
No,
to the priest and
they're
listen
not.
to, when they hear the meteorologist, they think they're getting like the same thing. You know, they hear it from him. Now they don't have to do any other research because they heard it from some authority figure who knows more than they do. That's why people pray to the storm after.
All right, guys. Blessings to the people. We're almost reaching 100 views on the show. So I appreciate the people that are watching. Go ahead and send this show out so we get more views and bring people into the discussion if you can. Okay, it's important that people participate today because
Yeah.
you know, I'm sort of more depending on people and they like these last 30 minutes, but
Oh yeah.
I appreciate the people in terms of everyone's participation. And of course, we got a lot of topics in terms of Guinan's view of history, in terms of Mumford and Ellul, right? In terms of all of the ideas that we're putting forward of Skolomowski and Skrbina that aren't really that much out there in the public. And obviously we're given a history of philosophy and a philosophy of history and so on and so forth that I think is more to the point of exploring those main architectonic sort of issues and as they are the arts that create all other arts. and we're trying to discover what those are, in the course of the stream. Right, and so on and so forth, and of course we're asking critical questions. So there's a lot of issues that I brought up during the course of a lot of these streams, but anyways, I'll drop the link again. I'll play a song for you guys.
I got a question. Is the art that makes all arts, or whatever you said, is that metaphysical?
Sure, yeah, I think metaphysics is part of it for sure. And as Bruce Lee said, right, first you learn all other styles, right, all styles, then you create your own style, then you use your style and all other styles, whatever comes natural, and have a no style. So there's 3 steps to, and I think you can apply that methodology to just learning in general, right? So I appreciate you guys, and we will be back.
Yeah, I'll talk a little bit about the data science when we're back, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely, Buddha. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, when we come back, I want to guys show you like a very funny clip from audio of just like Cougar Doomer freaking out over people like having like views of like God, of like having faith in God. It's fucking funny, man.
Okay, I guess and it's all in good fun. Obviously, definitely invited on the show, Cougar Doomer. So
of course,
yeah. But yeah, check this out. Actually, you know what? Let me put this on the TV real quick because I don't want to I want to see if they cancel the stream. So. Wait, where are we at? Yeah, but this is one of my favorite artists, really. This dude is pretty cool in my opinion, and this video with the Animatrix, but last time I tried to play Animatrix video, they shut me down. All right, so this one is like more carefully edited, so let's see if it goes through.
You mean to tell me a smart little brother like you believes in that shit? I mean, here comes this dude from outer space, wearing clothes you never seen before, laying down a rap you never heard. I mean, that you can't even relate to. Come on, you're smarter than that.
2023, age of science and technology, separate from God.
Hey yo, hold it down, put it down, Phoenix. There ain't no MC in this industry that really represents. Funk fakers, wax style makers. I take it to your picture, you ain't nothing but a faker. Hold it down, put it down, Phoenix. There ain't no MC in this industry that really represents. Funk fakers, wax style makers. I take it to your picture, you ain't nothing but some fakers. Rap rappers, black, you make me view it from a technological age. Your style does not you. Your DNA must be dilute, genetically being spliced from my birthday suit. Supreme being, down the original. Try to clone my style, take my rap with the kingdoms. MC archaeologists, you misinterpretate. Cram to understand, and then you play your hate. Phoenix Orion, rejuvenate from cryo state by a chemical experiment. No more secrets in your government. Rappers couldn't see me through 3D binoculars with Mandroid and Rick and Tron. There ain't nobody stopping us. Hold it down, put it down, Phoenix. There ain't no MC in this industry that really represents the real funk fakers, wax style makers. I take it to your face that y'all fake. I'll battle anybody, anywhere, any place, any man, woman, chick, or child from any race. Even beings from space couldn't fade my flow, cause I am also extra terror, astro. Earth, you best to act like you know, or do some hell of a tendon, like O.J. Simpson. Did I forget to mention, we're from the 5th dimension, Mandroid activate, initiate time sequence. Liquid mean forward, the gunshot mean rewind. You requested it, so we rewind. Access the code, download and prepare for the mothership ride. Cyber funk, faker, wax style, maker. Take to your face with some debate that you ain't nothing but some fakers. Phoenix, the creator, human alien, later. My style is laser, your own style is faker. Suspended animator, liquid displayer, future rhyme sayer. Downloading my data, you'll be catching the vapors because we're us because they can't duplicate us. I cook like a butterfly, sting them like DJ Hyde. We keep the party live and open your third eye. Cyber and synergize, making the party rise. Like put it by, put it by, put it by, put it by, uno, dos, tres. We rock from north to south, east to west, all the way to the UK. All day, every day, east to the foreign land, Africa, Asia, Japan. Cybernauts worldwide, tetragrammaton sound providing the vibe. Watch this ride. Hey!
Yeah, blessings.
That wasn't MERS, was it?
No, it's Phoenix Orion.
It kind of
That
sounds
was-
like MERS.
Nice song. Very good.
Yes, Phoenix Orion. It's called New Style Laser.
New style. Like, nice.
Yeah.
I wanted to comment on art real quick.
Yeah, of
And
course.
put it to the nun, because if I forgot exactly the words you said, but like the art from where all other art comes, to me is
Architectonic.
what
Architectonic.
art to tectonic.
Yeah, like archi is like the ruling or guiding principle, right? Like in the Gospel of John, it says en arche kai hon logos, right? Meaning in the beginning the ruling principle was logos. Right? So archi is like the general principle of all things, right? And then tecton is like a carpenter that makes things. Right? So, so I just kind of use this to explain the creation of symbols, right?
Okay.
Yeah, it's like if man is a symbol making animal. What do you call this process? Well, the process is architectonic, right? I can look it up too.
I think I'd have to go back and listen to what you said. I felt lost for a minute.
Oh, look, there's a Wikipedia.
Oh, Wikipedia.
Yeah. Yeah, let's check.
We
It's a
know we know that's going to be unbiased.
Architectonic. Oh, whoops. It does say philosophy. Wow. In philosophy,
nice.
architectonics is used figuratively to mean foundational or fundamental, supporting the structure of morality, society, or culture. So you see that down? So it's like the most foundational truths, right? Possible, right?
I see.
Yeah, so it's similar to like saying worldview or your belief system or so on and so forth, right?
Well, I would say the most foundational truth of reality, especially if you're going to equate it to art, which I actually do, is that it's based in limitless potential. There's so many possibilities we can't even imagine it. What we take from the limitless possibilities, like an artist takes tools like paint brushes or maybe even sculpting equipment or whatever, and they apply it to something to create a unique picture, or a sculpture, which there will be nothing else like it again.
Yeah. So I want to talk about the data centers a bit. So, you can hear me? Do I have this
Yeah,
on?
we can hear you.
Yeah. So basically, I've talked about this before, but it's good to, when you get the data, you pre-process it, you clean it, and blah blah. But Klaus Schwab said data is the new gold. So they're always gathering data on the edge with what is called edge analytics. It's called edge analytics, and they send that to the cloud. and then they pre-process that data to train the deep learning models to make their weights more fine-tuned, and for forecasting and prediction and classification, stuff like that. So so data is seen as the new gold by these power-hungry elites, these technocrats.
Yep.
It's seen as the new gold. And I actually read something that says they value data more than they value the produce they create. They value, like the produce on shelves, they value it more as a data item, than they do as an actual physical, tangible thing. So
It's not surprising.
That's not surprising, yeah. So, they're always gathering data, like from your browsing history, cookies, or from a lot of other things, and fine-tuning their algorithms to better kind of shape your behavior or mold your behavior and stuff like that. And wait, I think everyone knows that, but maybe it's good to look at some of the some videos about like how deep learning works. And so it's kind of weird and creepy, but yeah, we're also dealing with other issues too, like biocomputing stuff that they are trying to fuse with the machine learning algorithms, stuff like that. So we live in a fucked up world. Yeah, things are getting worse. Yeah, it's becoming totalitarian. It's just bizarre. Yeah. Anyone have any questions? I could talk about this stuff more because I have a lot.
That the data gathering is all about making people more predictable.
Yep, that's all it will ever will be. If you have data, you can know what people are going to do, what events are going to happen, and that's why climate scientists, or just scientists in general nowadays, they're not for finding truth. They're for controlling people. That's what it has been for the past like hundreds of years now. It's not about like getting closer to truth. It's about conforming people to the world, any part of the world that they belong to.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't always trust the science, as they say.
I write my thing, and I know I'm fairly certain I'm not the only person who's pointed this out, but in order to exist, civilization must basically decrease the complexity around it through complexifying itself. So what that means is there's all these possibilities that go on around it. But many of these possibilities that happen are inherently dangerous for civilization. So civilization has to eliminate these possibilities from existing. And the only way it can do that progressively is through more complex technology.
Importing and exporting entropy that Perogene talks about. Perogene.
Interesting. Yeah.
Also ties into active inference from Carl Friston, where you're trying to minimize the surprise in the external world by making it conform more to your inner mental image, by taking action, and you're trying to minimize surprise, and that's called free energy principle for him. And
free energy principle, yep.
For him.
Absolutely, yeah. Oh, yeah. And
I think it comes down to is I think that we can either accept as human beings that there are things beyond our control and attempt to coexist with these things, or we can reject this premise and, just like civilization attempts to do, try to control all the things that we don't understand and predict it.
Yeah.
Well, people don't like, the technocrats, they don't like the idea that, have you And there's this cool quote from the judge from Blood Meridian. Well, that's not very cool, but he said, let me see it. Yeah,
With the judge.
yeah. Whatever exists, he said, whatever in creation exists without my knowledge exists without my consent.
Oh my God, yes, that is what every technocratic elite does nowadays. Like if we don't exist under the surveillance of them, then like we're going against them because they know that like the world that they built isn't really in our best interests, you know, and that's a threat to them for someone to like not be in their stratosphere. Why do you think they always want like regime change in other places of the world? Because they're not part of like their economic and like technological grid, you know.
Many people don't know this, but some of the earliest ornithologists from the 1800s, like John Audubon and other ones, they would actually kill birds and preserve them for cataloging purposes and to document.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And
absolutely.
There's also this one thing they did during Victorian era, where they would go and collect the eggs of because they found it beautiful for the birds, and that almost caused mass extinction for some birds during the Victorian era. And
of course,
I have one more thing to say. There are big facilities where they have like thousands or billions or millions of birds preserved, so that way they can just keep them to sequence their genome and stuff like that. It's just crazy, you know. This is why I do like some stuff from Ludwig Claudius. Ludwig Claudius would call that logocentrism, the obsession with wanting to document and classify everything, dissect everything, and put it in a neat box. You know what I mean? You know, it's just this obsession with endless categorization.
Yeah. Neat box of endless categorization. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like a Cougar Doomer. Just endless categorization of all things. He's kind of like that too. If something goes against like his like epistemic of like scientific data, then like he will freak out, you know. Like I've seen it happen with my own 2 ears.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure he's not the only one like that. I don't think I've ever seen him do that though, but like I said, the technocrats, they want the world to be a certain way, so they need people to behave a certain way. And the only way they can do that is they can predict what people are going to do.
Yeah.
And really, I would say the only way they can predict what people are going to do is if they can make people do what they want them to do, which they do through things like religion and laws and money.
Oh, sorry. Ooh. Nature is so nice. I have so many feelings about society so evil that it corrupted the pure state of nature. I fucking love nature. By calm contemplation, I can see the Tylenol of nature. The divine is in nature. Yeah, that's true.
Well, I mean, the thing about Rousseau was that he grew up in Europe.
Yeah.
He didn't have much of a chance.
No, he did not. Yeah, and like it was kind of like a hypocrite because he says you should love you should be, you know, like see your man as like free and like compassionate. Well, like he didn't really follow that because he like didn't really took care of his kids, I believe, right? And, like they kind of like in like an orphanage, I believe.
Yeah, I used to write on a bunch of board, like on the chalkboard, right? Like at the university, right? To like go around and write the quote by Rousseau, right? Because he said that to be sane in a world full of madmen is true madness.
Yeah.
Right. And then he also said that the other one is G.K. Chesterton, right? He said the madman is not the man without reason, but he is the man who has lost everything except for reason.
Yeah, also Sri Krishnamurti said it is no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society.
Right. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
very
exactly.
similar. It's very similar to the Rousseau quote.
Absolutely. And I
Yeah,
think
right.
even like Thomas Etziger said something similar, like just because you're conforming to the world doesn't make you like sane or healthy, like in your mind. Like, no, you're actually
Oh, yeah.
conforming to a very screwed up world, you know?
Yeah, I think there's some sort of quote in the technological system where I think Alul kind of says, he says conformity in today's world means nothing more than conformity to a technological system.
Of course.
And,
absolutely.
That's pretty good quote too.
Fatima, let me ask you something. You mentioned Thomas Metzinger. Have you read Thomas Metzinger? Because he's
I have heard it. I know who he is. I've read some works by him on like online PDF, and like Thomas Blagatti mentioned him in his book Conspiracy Against the Human Race. But I am familiar with Thomas Metzinger. You know, he's known as like a oppressive realist. So yeah, I was interested in him a few years back. You know, like just like like the world is not like a great place for your psychological health, and yet you still are expected to conform to it. Yeah, it's definitely, you know, something that I think everyone has come to realize, though. Like they just still go on with your days, and like you still kind of go with scripts, you know. With scripts that are given to you from other people and from the algorithm around you, you know?
Yeah, I was big into Thomas Metzinger. A few years ago, I read The Ego Tunnel, like 2/3 of it, 3/4 of it, and it's stuff about the transparent self model, and his neurophenomenology is very interesting. He wrote a new book called The Elephant and the Blind, which he talks about the phenomenological reports of, I don't know, deep meditative experiences. I haven't looked into that one. That was pretty big. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. His views on the illusion of selfhood or something. Yeah, so I could talk about, but that's kind of a different topic. Yeah, I didn't know he had that view on sane and health and stuff. That's interesting.
Oh yeah.
I just want to mention Fatima said something about script.
Yeah,
and
script.
Talking about mental health and how it's not a measure of being healthy, being adjusted in an unjust world. And I know I beat a dead horse because I say this a lot, but it comes down to the way humans used to live before civilization and the traumatic shift that civilization imposed on us. And now we don't even, it's like, it would be like if you got your hand cut off and you didn't even realize your hand was cut. You just forgot you even had a hand. And what I mean by that is because people used to live free lives generally where the only demand was survival from nature, not from other people saying that you got to produce all this stuff for civilization. And so this was what was lost, and we don't even realize what was lost. This is why we've been unable to heal.
Yeah, now I have an actual work that by Rosak, but I think I'm gonna actually try to find more of this stuff of him talking about eco psychology. So we actually have like a dude who's into psychology that talks about the technological system and its effects on the psychological scope and so on and so forth. And for some reason I can't find this entire thing. Yeah, hold on. Wait, hold on. Yeah, I don't know why they don't have this entire thing. Let me try to see if I can find.
Yeah. So the remake for Story of Seasons, Grand Bazaar recently, it's not as good as the other titles, but it's not bad. I don't like how you're growing or developing the town, but the thing is, like, I don't know, Friends of Mineral Town, the original for Game Boy Advance, and Back to Nature, and also Animal Parade. That one is very good. That thing, in some ways, the idyllic and the what I like to call spenta. I call it spenta. I used to have this older philosophy, based on my readings of Zoroastrianism, stuff that is more peaceful and tranquil or more honorable or whatever I call spenta. Well, the stuff that's more dark and macabre, I call angra. Call it angra, spenta manio, angra manio. So if you're ever in the mood for like something peaceful and idyllic and tranquil and about community and connection to nature, I recommend Harvest Moon Animal Parade.
Nice. Definitely we'll check it out, Buddha. It's gonna be cool. You always have like some of like the best recommendations when it comes to like either films or like books. Yeah. Like I watched that Indonesian film. Yeah, that was really good. That was fucking amazing. Yeah, actually. Yeah.
I recommend an Indonesian film. Oh yeah, Jago. Yeah, Jago.
Jago, of course. Yeah, Jago. Yeah, Jago. Yeah, it was very nicely made. It was some of like the best shots I've ever seen in my life, honestly. And like I've seen like quite a few like nature documentaries when I was a kid, so it kind of brought me back to like that like more like tranquil time in my life. Yeah, so it was cool.
Yeah, I'm glad you like it. I could send you the essay I wrote about it. I wrote an essay about Jago.
Nice. Very cool, very cool. Yeah. Yeah, but like I can tell that like the fox is like a new like staple on DNW because Joe is like goes there a lot now. Sometimes I just watch and I talk with other people in like the comments.
Yeah, try to avoid places that have a lot of banter. Personally, I don't like banter.
Yeah.
That's
Sometimes I still engage with banter because I actually do have a history of like that community, like because originally DNW was like anti-natalist community and I was into that, and he left that, and so I was kind of like a leftover of that, so I just like attached to him. So yeah.
Well, you are very intelligent. I can definitely tell. So I appreciate your a lot of your contributions and insight. Yeah, I appreciate your insight.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So I found something, I guess, but it's not the Mishlove, but it's something else. So I'll play maybe like a few minutes of this, and then I'll close the stream for today. We'll start tomorrow, same time, obviously. All right.
Sounds good, man.
Yes, I appreciate you guys. I mean, but yeah, this is eco psychology. Let's take a look at this. Ohio. Wow.
Our working definition at the Center for Psychology and Social Change is that eco-psychology is a developing theory and practice which promotes sustainable and mutually enhancing relationships within and among humans and between humans and the more than human world. Big mouthful. We really look at, since we tend to focus on mental health and psychotherapy, we look at the soul's need to place itself within the great scheme of things. Bringing psychology and ecology, and through ecology, living systems theory together to develop this theory and practice.
If you go back to the 1960s, not much more than a generation ago, one of the great insights in psychotherapy and in psychology.
So here's Theodore Roszak, right? The guy who came up with this concept, right? This is his book that they're talking about. Right?
Generally, was the degree to which people are shaped by their families. We now take this to be obvious. Nobody doubts it anymore, that the family is a meaningful context for defining mental health. If you turn on television these days, you'll hear talk shows in which everybody claims to be the casualty of a dysfunctional family. It's hard to believe that no more than 20 or 30 years ago, this phrase, dysfunctional family, did not exist. And the goal of eco-psychology is to make it clear that many of us may be suffering much more deeply from dysfunctional environmental relations than we are suffering from dysfunctional family relations. But the structure of the insight is exactly the same. What is the context within which you define sanity? What is the context within which you define mental health?
We know that we are not.
So I think that point is pretty good, right? He's saying that actually it's our disturbances with our lack of meaning and our lack of relationship to our environment that is causing most of our mental illness, not our lack of relation to our family, right? That it's not really a family issue, right? It's more like, society in general is fucked up.
Yep.
And obviously the family is a small reflection of that, the greater problem. So I think that's a pretty strong point.
Living sustainably in the world in a physical sense, that we're using up resources that are unreplaceable and that we're not paying attention to the future. What we tend not to know, and what part of our work is that we are not living sustainably in the psychological sense also, that our psychic resources are being used up by our lifestyle, our way of living.
Dr. Sarah Kahn is a clinical psychologist in private practice in Massachusetts.
Used up and drained by other entities.
At the Harvard Medical School.
Right. And then you got this lady from Harvard Medical School.
Dr. Theodore Roszak is a professor of history at California State University, Hayward. He is the author of many books, including The Voice of the Earth, and co-editor of Eco-Psychology, Restoring the Earth, Healing the Mind.
I approach eco-psychology from the viewpoint of an environmental writer and speaker who discovered about 4 or 5 years ago that it was getting more and more difficult for me to address audiences about the environmental crisis. I take it to be the great moral and political issue of our times. But I found that I was essentially trying to scare them, or I was trying to shame them, on the assumption that if I scared them enough or I shamed them enough, I would change their behavior and make them good environmental citizens. But in fact, it doesn't. So I found myself asking, is there another approach that is affirmative, that appeals to the best in people, that appeals to essentially positive motivations, and which I can believe will change people? And I found that while this sounded like a question of public relations, it was actually a deep philosophical question.
I feel like he's our therapist right now. Right? He's like
yeah.
Like how we should act.
Well, we're screwed.
Yeah, like how we should stop shaming people and people that we're all doomed to. It's funny, yeah, but yeah, funny. So I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that. We'll watch more of that later. But yeah, it's crazy stuff. Eco psychology. This is something that Scribina includes in his anthology that I thought was interesting.
It's my first time hearing about eco psychology. I think I've heard about it, but like I've never seen like an actual documentary, like a video. Looks interesting though.
Yeah, actually, in eco theology, right at the end of that work, it seems that Skolimowski seems to put forward a number of items, including eco psychology. Right. Obviously, he coined the term eco philosophy. Right. So he said eco theology and eco psychology are sort of branches of this exploration of, how we expand the concept of ecology and put that into other areas of thought to try to unify knowledge. Right. Under overarching concern. Yeah. So interesting.
Very. I'm gonna have to look more into that because like that sounds like something I'd be heavily like invested in. Yeah, eco psychology.
Yeah, eco psychology, eco theology. Yeah, so I know that Skolimowski was an original thinker in that regard, but yeah, so I'm not sure who else has sort of explored that other than Rozak. But adjusting ourselves to the sort of sick society. I think that's kind of the essence of what he's trying to get at.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like every philosopher said that was good. Like Schopenhauer said that, Nietzsche said that, Sharon said that, Zaffe said that. A lot of them have said that, it's not, it's okay to not conform or to not be like a player in this world for the most part, because like it's just like controlled, captured, and for lack of a better word, just all fake and gay, largely.
Right. So what would you guys like to say in terms of closers? And then we'll be back tomorrow at 9:15 p.m. I'm now going to attempt to sleep. It's 11:18 p.m. where I'm at, and I've been having very little sleep, especially at night. It's like I don't sleep at night at all. I sleep during the day, and I think it's ruining my my mood or whatever. Right?
Yeah, certainly not going to help it.
Yeah. So I'm critically low on night sleep hours. I think it's good that I invest some time. Especially after tomorrow. Tomorrow we will not be sleeping at night, as you guys all know. We'll be doing the show, so I appreciate you guys. Yeah. So, what would you guys like to say?
I guess I'll go first.
Well, I don't know if Dom is there. Oh yeah, Dom, you there?
Yeah.
Yeah, whoever wants to go, or Buddha,
Well, I'll just say to check out my video that I posted on Sunday.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Maybe we'll watch it tomorrow.
It's like 35 minutes.
Yeah, we could watch that tomorrow. Yeah, we could break that down. What is the video about?
It was what I was reading you. I read the whole thing.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah. So yeah, I would like to play that because I thought that was interesting. What you laid out. So we could take a look at that as you're on the show. So yeah, so we'll look at Dom's video. Go check it out so you guys know what we're gonna be looking at and talking about. So I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, I did already. Yeah, like yesterday it was nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I guess my closing, if I can do my closing remarks, have a good night, everyone. Stay strange, and have a good day. Have a good, or like wherever you are out there.
Yeah, blessings, my friend. Yeah, thank you for joining again.
Yeah,
I
of
really
course.
appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right, laters.
Yeah, peace down. Yeah, so what you got from Buddha?
Yeah, no, I don't really have much closers. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
no worries.
yeah, I have to fix my sleep schedule, so
Yeah, same. Yeah, man. I'm like totally like
Yeah.
not sleeping at
Gotta
night.
get direct sunlight in the morning
Yeah.
if you can. Helps reset the body clock.
Yeah, I need to go outside. That's another thing I need to do. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Doesn't help when it's cloudy though.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Alchemos. I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you, Lizard Tree. Yeah, we definitely will. Thank you so much. Name isn't important for always watching. Fireworks thrown by stupid people for football. Yeah.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
yeah, the World Cup, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, a bunch of crazy people.
I
for
was told
sure.
to root for the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, those guys really like my show. So, we got a few fans from the Netherlands. So maybe I should root for the Netherlands too, because they're always rooting for the Machine Lives.
The Dutch.
I appreciate my.
But that basically is like Voy, right?
Void, Dr. E.
Oh, really?
Moontan. There's been several people that we talked to that are from Netherlands that,
Oh, Voy's,
also Earth Supporter, I think. Earth Supporter is also Netherlands. So this
Voy
is
is Dutch? Oh, I had no idea.
yeah, they have the same taste in music as me and Reddington too. Like it's like it's cool. Like they kind of like they're like they like weird music,
Yeah. They like their Euro dance and techno and shit.
Yeah, blessings, Godson. I appreciate you. Yeah, Alchemos. Yeah, blessings, brother. All right. Yeah, Panelverse, I appreciate you, man.
What's the one thing Tron says? Being itself is only a pretension of nothingness. That was kind of wild.
Yeah.
I think I'll be heading out now, guys. But thank you once again, Machine Lies, for always providing us streams. Absolutely.
Yeah, I appreciate you too. Yeah, I appreciate you too, my friend. It's been a great pleasure and honor talking to you so far. So I greatly appreciate the time.
Of course, yeah. See you later, everyone. Peace out, man.
Have a good night.
Thank you. Take care.
All right. All right, friends. So thank you for joining us here on the Machine Lives, where we talk about the lives of the machine on the machine that lies. As I explained in the beginning of the show, there's lots of shows we're doing, so check them out and invest some time in how we're putting this together. Of course, whole range of issues that we'll be exploring tomorrow. And I'm not sure what I'll put down here. Yeah, I guess we'll go with this. But yeah, I can't play the video, so I'll just keep whoever's here on screen.
Potent ass Peruvian flakes, word screws, tank with skills, I drill like platoon leaders. Niggas can people from 6 meters. My shit's supreme in structure, putting plugs in rap slugs. In your set, ready to go. Throw the brick at your glass house, watch them out of shatter, my chatter fall from idle raw recital. Yo, I don't know breaks like Barnum and Bailey, Mr. Cole's Haley's coming. Watch me pop it like a pill. Pulling black beauties and caramel cuties, Louis and Queens, do me my justice. However, that's another chapter. After MCs, like a bounty, you got a price on your head, I'll make you famous and dead. Brandish my lyrical like my pistol. MCs are red like bloody jam, back your crew bleeds like demons. Those psychos complaining about the pain that I give. My rap bust up your lungs, break your ribs. I cause the gimmick. Internal damage, fucking up cerebrums. Yeah, chilly. I got that witty when the cola blows. My shit dope is blows on Cicero. Text that before you see. I destroy the decoy. All codes get their head blown off when the blowtorch speaks. People listen like the important. When MCs like bitch with a motherfucking apple between their lips. Yo! Sounds ricochet through domes claiming victims. Everything's fake cause I'm a fucking inmate. Now make them feel, this article might be critical to MC sounding pitiful, but I do not give one fuck. Now it's on when the beat breaks, he break. When my mic generate enough heat to bait, I jack for souls. So throw them in the air like you just don't care and give them hair while lumber rocks you down. Calm tight, but while in a minute, like what you don't know might hurt ya. My buster, radius of grenade clusters. My mind's feel like a minefield. Time to build, double yield, and feel the force of concentrated steel. We got time to roll that dime. Rhyme shine like summer days, another haze for the pastime. Niggas be swearing they choice when they just moist, talking like they smooth as a Rolls Royce with me in it. Don't be timid and grab no micro. I thought all the shit MCs would put to rest in Knoxville. Break it up, break it in, break it on out, bitch. Yeah, that's how I like it. And when the feeling's right, I never fight it. Check it out, my mic detonates, causing riots. Sounds ricochet through domes, claiming victims. Everything's straight cause I'm a fucking inmate.
Now if your spiritual's incapable, hawk my aerial assault got niggas open like Capone's fork. Thriller, drama, terror, fastball error to your face. Point blank, 200 mph from the Lone Star State, sent to make the earthquake. Representing wherever, forever. Ginsu, your thing crew, rubber click be thicker than a first grade pencil. Killing each and every nigga for sport. The routine, hard heads in clean. Know exactly what I mean. It'll see, need I stress this? Texas flexes, born at the harder. I'll bust your young and leave you restless. I hold mics like a hype holds a pipe. Renegade a rap, man, I slayed ASAP. Tried to tackle me, I stiff on this fucking faculty. The wind, whoosh, it's hectic here. Me and my mics like electric chairs. We go way back like drive-bys and hood highs. Unhappy skill fat, who ain't killed yet? Hear me now, I'm too advanced for youngsters. The Avalanche branch, massive Rottweiler owner and heavenly body boner. Fuck fancy clothes, hoes who up they nose. When the name blows up, baby, you paying for my pose. Word up, Freddie Rodriguez walking clouds in Adidas, counting dead presidents. Nigga, call us if you need us. Please, no media, just throw the spot on the back page. Niggas be acting shady while they ladies lounging backstage. Towns ricochet through domes claiming victims. Everything straight cause I'm a fucking inmate.
While I stare at the model, this is Cannibal Holocaust with Ruggero Deodato, and the body getting buried over there in the grotto. This the gate of God, Paul right here in the novel. Where the fucking chopper at? I'ma see who really real. I'ma load this blicky and then aim for the Achilles heel. Edison Cavani put the 9 in his back, and then my fam slam on you like the lion attack. The lion is back. Pistolero be on his day and have your body hooked up to a breathing machine. I'm flicking the scene with the infrared beam in its green, because these Joseph deeper stones be too eager to see. You shaking the kings, and I'ma let it rain. bullets rain on you like they motherfucking raindrops. This money long gone, B. I spend it on my gun advance. The evolution pistol make his body do the shmoney dance.
Black mask, Lucifer, crucifixion. Hatchbacks used for drive-by shooting missions. I speak fluid and new pistols and stew addiction. Before my goons, I walk barefoot through a blizzard. Black mask, Lucifer, crucifixion. Hatchbacks used for drive-by shooting missions. I speak fluid and new pistols and stew addiction. Before my goons, I walk barefoot through a blizzard. 10 times twice as dope. Move like nuclear isotope. Shoot you from a mile away through the rifle scope. Assault you through hellfire by icy cold. Spike your dome, sizzle in the snow like a lightning bolt. I melt your fucking skull like an ice cream cone. Engineered to explode like an ice strong. Hit your random like a Rambo knife. Commando type, camel stripe. Super villain strike like Alpha Flight. The evil and Knievel. Fly like a desert eagle, that's the Hebrew. Enter the blood-drenched cathedral. Fuck with me, you face cobras and flamethrowers and space soldiers. It's over, but take a hold to get your fucking face exploded. Walk with a murder swag, ill bill murder bang, heavy metal murder gang. So run away with the clever, or you can die right now, vacation forever. Black mask, Lucifer, crucifixion. Hatchbacks used for drive-by shooting missions. I speak fluid and new pistols and stew addiction. Before my goons, I walk barefoot through a blizzard. Black mask, Lucifer, crucifixion. Hatchbacks used for drive-by shooting missions. I speak fluid and new pistols and stew addiction. Before my goons, I walk barefoot through a blizzard.
To the Vario, we carry the jelly out in two capris. I'm like Dr. York in the mausoleum, I'm 2 degrees. I own me jacket with fringes, witchcraft up the sleeve. Got goons like Buddy Hackett that will blast you and leave. Wigs like Blue Cheer, 100 Michael Dots called Bill Steer. Some shotgun pellets or a doozy from ear to ear. Don't make me pop your eyes out stupid for Charlie M. Medina, Arafat, box cutter, William Cutter, they carved the gem. We don't carve ears, gather him in your limbs first. Food embassy up in the kitchen like Big Lurch. Extort the public when I move like the sick church. We sick first, that you getting hit with the clip first. 1,000 round ACGs, mini super freeze. This motherfucker turn your features into Gouda cheese. Provolone grill, big mouth, closed coffin. Cadaver kids, we lit our vengeance out post-mortem.
Black mask, Lucifer, crucifixion. Hatchbacks used for drive-by shooting missions. I speak fluid and new pistols and stew addiction. Before my goons, I walk barefoot through a blizzard. Black mask, Lucifer, crucifixion. Hatchbacks used for drive-by shooting missions. I speak fluid and new pistols and stew addiction. Before my goons, I walk barefoot through a blizzard.